The 10 most disturbing text messages of all time.
This happened during the middle of the night when I was home alone. I was in our house's living room when I felt my phone buzz from inside my pocket. I pulled it out and noticed it was a text from an unknown number. It simply read, "How's your show?" Now, I was in fact watching TV, but I
They're in the
thought it was
window.
either spam or someone that had the wrong number, so I deleted it and kept on with my night. Around 10 minutes later, I got another text from the same number. This time it read, "Don't ignore me." I started to get kind of freaked out. That's when I got the last text. "I'll always be watching. Look outside."
I knew
looked
it.
out the living room window just to the left of me. Across the street, the light from a flashlight turned on in an upstairs window of one of the houses, and I could see the vague silhouette of a person slowly waving. The house he was in had been abandoned for at least a year up until that point. I called the police and later on would file a restraining order against what turned out to be some older guy. I still have no idea who he was or how he got my phone number.
He was just playing a joke on you, bro.
I use dating apps somewhat frequently. This comes from the perspective of a female. I was talking to this one guy who kept insisting that we should meet tonight. I wasn't all that interested, so I started slowly responding less and less before I stopped responding altogether. After a while, I noticed he double texted me. Curious, I opened the app to see what he said. His character took a complete 180 flip. He said something about how he was just going to drive his car to come and find me. I refreshed the app and saw the distance drop from saying he was 20 miles away to 1 mile away. Then the third text in a row. "I'm close now." I blocked his profile immediately and turned off all the lights in my apartment. I've since disabled the setting that allows the app to use my location.
No, that's just creepy.
When I was in high school, I used to play a lot of CSGO. I remember one game in particular. It started out fine. The teammates I got paired up with were actually pretty nice, but later on we started losing, and one of them started getting really aggressive towards the rest of us. I remember I told him something like to calm down, or just to relax because it was just a game. That's when, directed at me, he said, "I'm going to kill you in real life." Obviously, I didn't take the threat seriously.
Grabbed his
After the
IP.
game, he sent me a friend request. I accepted it, expecting him to trash talk and go off about how bad I was.
Why'd you accept it?
Instead, he sent me my complete address, my dad's full name, and my phone number. I instantly blocked the account. I was beyond terrified.
Well, it's too late. He already
Especially when you
knows.
consider the fact that CSGO is only playable on Steam, and Steam doesn't make any of your actual personal details publicly available.
Yeah, but you're playing on... Brother, you need to be on a VPN. He's playing online using his Wi-Fi. So that person just goes boop, 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 boop. Now he's got your Wi-Fi, and because of his Wi-Fi, now he knows where you live. Use a VPN, guys. Not
I was
sponsored.
solo tent camping at a campground in the mountains. It was night and I was laying in my tent on my phone. Now, if you don't know, Apple has this thing known as AirDrop. It's basically something that allows iOS devices to send photos, videos, or files to other nearby iOS devices.
Come on, bro. We know. We're not
Wi-Fi
1990.
or cellular data. A notification showed up on my phone, covering the whole middle section of the screen. It was an AirDrop request. It read, "iPhone would like to share a photo." Underneath that, it gave a smaller preview of the photo itself. The photo was dark, clearly taken at night. I turned my brightness to the max, and could now make out a tent in the photo, and also a text overlaying it reading, "I watch you in your sleep." I couldn't tell if the tent was mine. I was going to press accept so I could see the entire picture and get a better look, but whoever sent it canceled the request before I could press it.
No,
I packed
they
up
did
my
not.
stuff in the dark and left that night.
Well, that's what
I
I
was
would do
pretty
too.
shaken up over the whole experience.
Were you shaken up or shooken up? See?
I run a small business in my area which I have my personal phone number attached to. Basically, customers will reach out via text or sometimes a phone call to request an order. I'll then manually deliver the product to them at a predetermined meetup spot. One day, I got a text from a customer who I met up with about a week prior. I assumed it would just be a thank you or a review, as I often get those. I opened it, but oddly it just said, "I like your shirt." I remember specifically I was wearing a shirt with this Transformers logo on it at the time. The text was weird, and I didn't really know how to respond, so I just texted back thanks. Almost immediately after I sent it, I got another text, this time saying, "I like Transformers too." My heart dropped. I was sitting at home at the time. I immediately got up and moved away from the window that was right next to me. I replied saying I was willing to call the police. I told him I had his number and remembered exactly what his face looked like. Realistically, this wasn't true. I had too many customers on my phone to keep track of, but this still seemed to work, as I never got another text back from him.
He's just being friendly, man. He saw your shirt. He was just out for a stroll, maybe. Looked in the window, saw your shirt, just wanted to let you know.
This happened around the time my wife and I got our first apartment in the city. It was around Christmas time. We were both out of the house Christmas shopping together, when I noticed 2 messages on my phone. One was notifying me of a missed call, and the other was a voicemail. I checked to see who it was from, and it was from our apartment's landline. We didn't live with anyone else, and on top of that, my phone was brand new, so no one even had my new number yet. We decided to listen to the voicemail, but it was no longer than a couple of seconds. All we could hear was the sound of someone hanging up the phone before it went quiet, followed by the dead tone. As far as we know, the only way someone could have used our landline was by entering our apartment.
No, really?
Nothing else came of the situation. We still don't know what exactly happened that day.
It was the pet. Always the pet. Probably a cat.
I had just gotten back to my apartment from a night out at a couple of bars with a friend.
Oh, nice one.
I was in bed and drifting off to sleep when my phone went off. The same friend I was just out with had texted me. I unlocked my phone and went into our conversation. I read the text. Word for word, it read, "I think I killed him." I had no idea what he was talking about. It honestly scared me. I tried calling him multiple times, but each time he didn't answer. I ended up driving to his house to find he was asleep in bed. After banging on his door multiple times, he finally got up to open it. I confronted him about the text, but he swore he never sent that to me. The text didn't even show up on his phone either.
He's probably too drunk to
don't even know
remember.
what to make of the whole situation.
He was too drunk to remember.
Sometime last year, I was on my phone when I noticed I got a message notification on Facebook. I opened it up, and it was probably some 20-year-old guy who said, "Are you my full legal name?" Now, no one really knows my full name, so I figured it had to be someone I knew. I opened his page and discovered he lived on the complete other side of the US. I checked for mutual friends, and we didn't even have one. And based on what he looked like, I was 99% sure I had never met the guy. I ended up responding with something like, "Yeah, do I know you?" To this, he responded, "I am going to murder you," with one of those smiley faces at the end. I don't typically scare easy, but this shook me to my core. I reported the conversation to Facebook through the reporting system, but who knows if that actually did anything. As far as I'm aware, I still haven't blocked.
He probably posted something and he's like, man, I don't agree with this.
16
I'm gonna troll
or
him.
17 when this happened. I was on one of our school's buses in my gym clothes. I remember I was sitting in the back on my phone. Then, all of a sudden, I got a text from an unsaved number with an area code I didn't recognize. I began reading the text. "Are you not cold in those thin clothes?" Immediately, I looked up. It was cold outside, and like I mentioned, I was in my gym clothes. I kept looking around, but as far as I could tell, no one was even looking in my direction. I didn't think anyone in the bus even had my phone number. I was still looking around when I got another text. "Stop looking, you're not gonna find me." This genuinely scared me.
It's
I
just
blocked
a
the
troll
number
in
and
the
tried
front
to
of the
forget about
bus.
it. Nothing more ever happened.
Bro, it's just a troll in the front of the bus. He got your number from a friend. He's like, I'm gonna troll him. Easy.
I often get off of work late at night. This night was no different. I live close to where I work, so I just walk. I was doing just that when I got a text. "Turn around, I'm at the end of the street." I had the number in my contacts. It was a kid I vaguely knew from school. I turned around and saw headlights at the end of the street growing closer. I was extremely creeped out. When he pulled up—
Hey, Jack, come on, man. Don't be so scared. He hasn't seen you in a long time. He saw you in high school. He's driving on the street. He's happy to see you. He just wanted to send you a text.
next to me, he insisted he give me a ride home.
Yeah, see, it's been
I
nice.
sternly rejected. After much pleading, he eventually drove off. How he found out where I worked, and more importantly when my shift ended that day, I never found out.
Bro, you're thinking too deep. He was probably just out for a stroll and saw you walking. He's like, hey, I'm just gonna offer him a ride home, be a nice person. But if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't have taken the ride either. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, just go slap that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and let me know in the comments if you guys have ever received a scary text. Peace.